In this video, I will show you what to do when you get an empirical formula problem and in one of the elements you get a decimal mole number. So like saying you get 2.5 carbon and you can't put that in your empirical formula. So like I said in the previous video, to find the empirical formula of a compound, you have to start by finding the moles, dividing by the lowest, and simply writing your formula by that number you will get something like that. However, sometimes you will get something like this, and this cannot happen. So you have to do something about it. So I'll show you by solving a problem. So we have this element. We have 57.14 grams of carbon, 6.16 grams of hydrogen, 9.52 grams of nitrogen, and 27.18 grams of oxygen. So the first step is finding the moles of each of the elements. So we have to divide this by their atomic mass because they're simply elements. And their atomic mass represents 1 mole. So carbons would be about 12 grams, hydrogen about 1 gram, nitrogen 14 grams, and oxygen 15.9 or 16 grams. So the grams cancel out and we end up with moles of oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and carbon. So here we get 4.76. Here we get 6.16. Here we get about 0.68. And here 1.7. So we have to pick the lowest of these four. This case would be the 0.68. And we have to divide each of them by that 0.68. So let me erase this part. Just leave these numbers. So this was the carbon. So C 4.76 over the 0.68, and this was the hydrogen. This is the hydrogen, so it will be 6.16 over 0.68. This was the nitrogen, and 0.68 over the same 0.68, and finally this was the oxygen, 1.7 or 0.68. So when we divide this, we get for the carbon about 7. If the number is really close to 7, like 6.9, you can put it as 7. For the hydrogen, we get about 9. For the nitrogen, we simply get 1, or we don't write anything. And for the oxygen, we get 2.5. And like I said before, you cannot have a decimal in your empirical formula. So what you have to do is you will multiply this by 2. But you cannot only multiply the oxygen by itself. You have to multiply the whole formula. So we have to multiply all of this by 2. And what we will get C14, H18, nitrogen 2, and oxygen 5. 2.5 times 2 is 5. And well, that is simply how how you make a decimal in your empirical formula a whole an exact number, whole number, natural. That would be your empirical formula.